History will never forget American financier Bernie Madoff, thanks to his over-the-counter Ponzi scheme. And of course, his fraudulent activities left an indelible mark on the lives of many people around him. From his clients to his family, all have a taste of Madoff's criminal activities' repercussions. In this video, we will look at Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme's impact on the lives of his family and clients. Watch on to find out as we unravel this. Before diving into the main content, let's take a brief look at Bernie Madoff's life. Bernie Madoff, with the real name Bernard Lawrence, was born on April 29, 1938 in Brooklyn, New York, to Ralph and Sylvia Madoff. His father worked as a plumber and later entered the financial industry with his wife. Both founded Gibraltar Securities, which was forced to close by the SAC. Madoff graduated from Hofstra University with a bachelor's degree in political science in 1960 and briefly attended Brooklyn Law School. Madoff married his high school sweetheart Ruth while in college, and they later founded Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities LC in 1960. At first, he engaged in trading penny stocks with the $5,000 he earned while installing sprinklers and working as a lifeguard. He quickly persuaded family members and others to invest with him. When the Kennedy flash crash of 1962 wiped out 20% of the market, Madoff's bets soured and his father-in-law had to bail him out. According to Madoff, he began his career as a scrappy market maker. "I was perfectly happy to take the crumbs," he told journalist Steve Fishman, citing a client who wanted to sell 8 bonds. A larger firm would reject such an order, but Madoff's would complete it. Madoff carried a chip on his shoulder and felt that he was not part of the Wall Street elite. "We were a small company that was not listed on the New York Stock Exchange," he told Fishman, "and it was very obvious." Success came when he and his brother Peter began to develop electronic trading capabilities, artificial intelligence, as Madoff put it, that attracted massive order flows and boosted the business by providing insights into market activity. He and 4 other Wall Street mainstays processed half of the New York Stock Exchange's order flow, much of which he paid for, and by the late 1980s, Madoff was making around $100 million per year. Madoff was appointed NASDAQ chairman in 1990 and served again in 1991 and 1993. I know you'll be curious about how Madoff was able to gather so many investors. Let me quench your curiosity. Madoff attracted investors by claiming to generate large, steady returns through an investing strategy called split strike conversion, also known as a long stock collar, a legitimate trading strategy. This strategy involves selling an out-of-the-money OTM call and using the proceeds to buy an OTM put for every 100 shares that you own. As an illustration, it is like a floor beneath which you cannot lose, as well as a ceiling beyond which you will not profit. With his apparently high returns, the clients couldn't help but look the other way. However, with his Ponzi scheme, some of the investors fall flat on their faces. The exact time Madoff started his Ponzi scheme is unknown. In court, he testified that the fraud began in the early 1990s, but his account manager, Frank DePascali, who had been with the firm since 1975, said it had been going on for as long as I remember. Even less clear is why Madoff carried out the scheme at all. "I had more than enough money to support my lifestyle and my family's lifestyle. I didn't need to do this for that," he told Fishman, adding, "I don't know why." The legitimate wings of the business were extremely lucrative, and Madoff could have earned the Wall Street elite's respect solely as a market maker and electronic trading pioneer. He carried out this fraud by depositing new clients' funds into a single bank account at Chase Manhattan Bank, now JP Morgan Chase Co., and letting them sit. According to an estimate, the bank may have made as much as $435 million in after-tax profit from those deposits. So when clients wanted to redeem their investments, Madoff funded the payouts with new capital, which he attracted by grooming his victims and earning their trust. Investors weren't the only victims of Madoff. He also defrauded several non-profit organizations, including the Elie Wiesel Foundation for Peace and the global women's charity Hadassah, through his friendship with J. Ezra Merkin, an officer at Manhattan's Fifth Avenue Synagogue. According to various accounts, Madoff defrauded its members of $2.4 billion. Now, the Ponzi scheme began to unravel during the Great Recession. As investors flocked to withdraw their money in 2008, Madoff was unable to meet up with the request for redemptions, So according to the report, on December 10, Madoff confessed to his two sons, Mark and Andrew, who worked at their father's firm. The following day, they turned him over to the authorities, and Madoff remained adamant that his sons weren't aware of the scheme. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison and forced to forfeit $170 billion in 2009. On February 5, 2020, his lawyers requested for his early release from prison, claiming that he had a terminal kidney disease that would kill him within 18 months. However, Madoff, incarcerated at the Butner Federal Correctional Institution in North Carolina, remained there until his death on April 14, 2021, at age 82. That's an overview of Bernie Madoff's life. Now, let's get back to the main content. Madoff's financial scheme caused a widespread financial disaster, affecting not only the thousands of individuals that trusted him with their investments, but also his own family members and loved ones. His Ponzi scheme, which ran for decades, defrauded thousands of investors and tens of billions of dollars. This Ponzi wiped out many people's savings and retirement plans, leading some to go back to work or move in with friends and family. Even worse is the impact of his fraudulent activities on his own family. They had lived charmed lives of seaside mansions, yachts, and lavish vacations. But the years between Madoff's arrest in 2009 and his death in April 2021 were marked by illness, forfeiture, suicide, and stigma for his wife, Ruth, his late sons, Mark and Andrew, and his brother and sister. His wife, Ruth, who in her husband's heyday enjoyed 2 private jets, waterfront estates in Palm Beach and Montauk, a sprawling penthouse on 64th Street and Lexington Avenue on the Upper East Side, a yacht and villa in the south of France, and millions in jewelry and designer clothing. Then her husband, whom she had been dating from childhood, went to prison, and her world came crashing down hard. Forced to forfeit $80 million in assets in deal with prosecutors, she was allowed to keep just $2.05 million. She's been living on that money ever since. Ruth, now 80 years old, has lately been living in the $3.08 million waterfront home of a former daughter-in-law, Susan Elkin, the first wife of Madoff's dead elder son, Mark, in Old Greenwich. The eldest son, Mark, committed suicide in the living room of his $6 million Soho apartment on the 2-year anniversary of his father's arrest. When his corpse was found, he was hanging from a black dog leash that had been looped around an exposed ceiling pipe. His 2-year-old son, Nicholas, was found alone in the apartment with a family labradoodle, both unharmed. "Take care of my family," he wrote his lawyer in a 4 a.m. email. "I love you." He texted his wife Stephanie, whom he had met after the divorce of Elkins, and who was in Disney World in Orlando with her mum and 4-year-old daughter, Audrey. The cause of Mark's death was nothing other than his father's fraudulent act. Though he'd never been found guilty by the feds, still being estranged from his parents, his inability to find work, being under investigation for possible involvement in the Ponzi scheme, coupled with being besieged by lawsuits seeking restitution, all led to his death. He attempted to take his life in 2009 too, by swallowing handfuls of Ambien. Then, he left a note addressed to his father with the statement, "Now you know how you have destroyed the lives of your sons by your life of deceit." Then his younger son, Andrew, died of cancer in 2014. He once told Madoff biographer and business journalist Jim Campbell that he killed Mark quickly. "And he's killing me slowly," referring to his father. Madoff's brother, Peter, who was his chief compliance officer, served some 9 years of his sentence for his involvement in the scheme and was released from home confinement and federal custody in August 2020. Initially, he claimed he was his brother's pawn before ultimately pleading guilty to falsifying documents and lying to regulators. The feds sold his seized $3.5 million Long Island mansion in 2015, using the proceeds to pay back victims. His sister, Sondra Weiner, and her husband were also sued by Madoff's bankruptcy trustee for allegedly pocketing more than $1.7 million in crooked profits. They settled for an undisclosed amount. And recently, in 2022, Sondra and her husband were found dead in their Boynton Beach, Florida home. According to the police, the cause of the deaths was murder, as gunshot wounds were found on the couple. Their killer still remained unknown. What are your views on this video? Do you think it's karma calling on the life of Bernie Madoff? Let's discuss in the comments section. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't done so, subscribe to this channel for more amazing videos. Bye.